So guys, Rufai, Dr. Abati, and other Rice crew members have all reacted to Peter Obi attending the coalition meeting. But before we get into that video, there is this argument on Twitter where a guy put up a tweet saying that even though Peter Obi attended that meeting, he shouldn't be given automatic ticket. There should be primaries. So do you think Peter Obi is going to allow himself, to go into that primaries? Because when it comes to primaries, Atiku knows how to buy his way through, and Peter Obi will not want to spend a dime paying people because you want delegates to vote for you. Now, another question that is being raised is, when Atiku led the PDP to join Buhari in APC, Atiku's argument was it was the turn of the North. Does it mean Atiku does not understand that now is the turn of the South? How come after the 8 years of Buhari, Atiku came to, contest for the presidency? Now he didn't get it and he's back again wanting to become president. I think many people are saying he should just throw his support behind Peter Obi. He should support Peter Obi and tell his followers to vote for Peter Obi. And I think that is where it is today. Because Peter Obi attending that coalition possibly is because he doesn't want people to feel his pompous or anything. He wants to listen. He wants to know what they are saying. He wants to see if it's something he would like to participate. Peter Obi has not come out to say, yes, he has agreed on anything. Anyway, I'm going to allow you to take a look at how Arise TV crew members have all, deliberated on this headline. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Just take a look.
But this meeting held yesterday, and I think it has calmed some nerves. There are a lot of top hitters in the meeting, like you've seen. Agmechi is there. In fact, there's talk about General Guzo also being in support of all of this rallying. There was a little skirmish in the meeting anyway by the Jigawa delegation as regards who is going to be the leader, but it was sorted out when the son of former Jigawa Governor Lamido was finally put as one of the leaders of the Jigawa delegation. And initially the meeting, they said the meeting was to discuss, what is happening in the north, insecurity and all of that, but it was way more than that. It was this first bold move in their country. I'm happy about it because you see, I've always said I condemn a one-party state. We should never have any talk about a one-party state. But what I will also tell these people all coming together is, who is ready to sacrifice for the other? Because increasingly I'm seeing a lot of people that, yes, they say they have one interest, which is to unseat President Tinubu in 2027, but all of them want to be president. I don't know, maybe when they get to that part, then they'll be able to navigate it. Maybe I was too hasty when I took, the assumptions of the This Day newspaper on Sunday and say, I said this might not fall through. But I remember on my tweet, Mr. Umarasoni, your very good friend, did say, don't be too hasty, Rufai. And he was correct, because probably he knew more than me that this meeting was coming up. So we'll see how these consultations go. And we'll see where they arrive at. Like you all see, 24 hours is a long time in politics. But this is a very good first step. At least in the news reportage this week, it wasn't about one defection or the other. It was from the opposition coalition also saying something. So it's good for balancing. And please, I just want to say this in extension. I know this is not part of it. Dear Governor Eno, you cannot suppress the rights of journalists. Whatever decision was made in that state against those Channels TV journalists, and I'm really mentioning it because I'm standing up in camaraderie, that because a report was released by them and they're barred from the press center, we totally condemn. We are all patriots at this point in time for our fellow journalists and our colleagues. Real quickly, as regards Seyi Makinde and Wike. These were the people that were together with what Daniel Bola would call them, the Jackson 5, the G5. These people came together to decimate the PDP and thwarted basically the chance of Atiku Abubakar because it didn't favor them. So Wike is now saying that all the agreement he put forward, Seyi Makinde is reneging against them. For instance, they should not bring forward Okoye again. It should be Anyanwu that should lead the way. He said Seyi Makinde went to the back to scuttle that. They also talked about taking away all the cases the PDP governors filed against state of emergency from courts and other agreements they did have. So today they are loggerheads. They are so at loggerheads that, in fact, if you check the page of the newspaper today, Wike took a page stating his position and all of that. Let's see how it's going to pan out in their fights. But it's interesting to watch their fights. Because these were the same people that were doing G5 and they were singing Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya, and they were both all excited when they thwarted the chance of their own presidential candidates. Let's see how the Bukola Saraki-led team will be able to bring peace back to the PDP because the larger context is restoring peace to the PDP.
Okay, what is the main issue? Nyesom Wike, Minister Wike, saying that he has pulled out of all peace efforts within the PDP because there was a meeting at the guest house of Senator Bukola Saraki, who is the leader of the Way Forward Committee of the PDP. And at that meeting, certain agreements were reached. And the agreements were reached included the fact that the National Legal Advisor of the party will withdraw cases in court involving the River State matter, that Samuel Anyanwu, who is his own favored candidate, for position of National Secretary, will be recognized as the National Secretary, and that there will be no talk about any Deputy Secretary being recognized as the acting National Secretary of the party. But at that meeting, certain agreements were reached. And on the basis of that, there was some reconciliation. His argument is that, look, the leaders of the party have now gone back on that agreement in Senator Bukola Saraki's guest house. To wit, that the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, the governor of Oyo State, colluding with the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba, have now decided to go behind and renege on those agreements. And that on the basis of that, he is standing on those agreements. He is standing on the ruling of the Supreme Court, even if the Supreme Court did not dictate who should be the National Secretary of the PDP. The Supreme Court simply said the party should go and put its own house in order. And the party is divided. On one hand, you have people who are saying that they are insisting on Samuel Anyanwu. On the other hand, you have the National Working Committee saying, look, it's the Deputy Secretary who is acting as National Secretary. You have the Southeast Caucus of the People's Democratic Party saying that the person they want there is Ude Okoye. Otherwise, it will amount to an act of affront. BOT Chairman Adolphus Wabara says so. Other leading members of that party, including Chief Atiku Udemwa, whom we interviewed on this program, also insisted that the Southeast cannot be taken for granted. Now, so what is clear is that there is conflict within the People's Democratic Party. There is dissension within the People's Democratic Party. Nobody even knows who the National Secretary is at this particular moment. And that was why when Senator Gabriel Suswam came onto this program, he said the PDP is in an intensive care unit in a hospital. In other words, that the party is very sick. And he said, on the occasion that we interviewed him, that the May 27 NEC meeting of the party will make or mar the PDP. It looks like the PDP is already either compromised or is already sabotaged, and that the prediction of Senator Gabriel Suswam may come true. It may not die as a political party, as acting national chairman, Ambassador Damagum insists, but will he be able to make any impact in 2027? So you have a party, a political party, at a crossroads because of the failure of his own internal democracy. However, I think Wike's role in the matter is also something that should be underscored. Yes, Wike says he has been in the party since the very beginning and that he has invested so much. But he projects himself as if he's the be-all and the all-in-all of the party. The same party under which auspices he was made chairman of Obio-Akpo local government, under which auspices he became special assistant to the governor, became chief of staff to the governor, became commissioner, became minister of state education, served for 2 terms as governor. I think it's most unfortunate that he's the same man who says he wants to destroy the PDP because he says he will fight to the finish. But he's very clever. He's hiding under agreements. The other time he said there was a southern projection agreement. This time around he says something was reached in Saraki's guest house. And Anyanwu, who is his lackey, has now issued a statement postponing tomorrow's scheduled meeting of the party. And he says he disagrees with a deputy secretary acting as acting national secretary. And then the other party, the National Working Committee, is insisting that they do not recognize the PDP. So look, the PDP is out of the equation, the way it is looking. A divided party like that, I don't see how they are going to reorganize within 2 years to challenge the same APC that they say they want out of power. Lessons not learned, leadership not provided, a lot of display of incompetence in the People's Democratic Party. Quickly, to the issue of the northern leaders. Now they had a meeting, the National Political Consultative Group, North, which was attended by former minister, former governor, Rotimi Amechi, and attended by Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, attended by Mr. Peter Obi, and other leaders of that coalition. Now, the impression is given that the North is monolithic. The North is not monolithic. People are saying northern leaders have resolved to remove Tinubu. Look, in that same North, there are leaders from the Northwest who say they are supporting Tinubu. There are leaders from the North Central who are saying they are supporting Tinubu. So it's not as if the North is monolithic. So when the newspapers, the media report that northern leaders forge united front, there is no such thing as a united front in the North. Indeed, at that meeting yesterday, there was a quarrel by the Jigawa delegation over who should speak on behalf of the Jigawa delegation. Babachi Lawal had recommended someone else, but the delegation, refused. They turned the place into a chaotic environment. The security agencies, DSS, police, and private guards had to protect the VIPs in the place. Peace was only restored when it was agreed that Sule Lamido, the son of Alhaji Sule Lamido, should speak on behalf of the Jigawa delegation. So the North is not monolithic. And there's also the issue. There's also a tendency within that coalition that is arguing that the next candidate from the North, from the coalition, should come from the South. But that Southern candidate should sign a one-term agreement. So you see they're determined in saying they want to push APC and Tinubu out of power. Okay? Now, that Tinubu is not going to just sit down and allow them to push him out of power. And which Southern candidate is going to agree to do only one term? If you put a Southern candidate there, he too will say he will do one term. But in any case, they have not even agreed on the platform. There is the Liyelemoke-led committee that is talking about whether they should remain in PDP or not. There is the Rotimi Amechi committee that is recommending Alliance for Democracy and all of that. So, it's a very complex proposition, and nobody should arrive at any, jerky, emotional conclusions. But it makes good headlines for the media to say northern leaders have united against APC. That's not the reality. It's far more complex.
It does make for exciting political commentary, doesn't it? So, it is without a doubt that yesterday's outing at the National Consultative Forum was a symbolic one, in that in all of the discussions that we've been seeing leading up to this, we hadn't seen so much of a united front. Some of the statements were pulling in different directions, but it was good to see an outing where all came together and were able to at least reach a degree of consensus on a number of things as we await for further developments. So again, this had followed the point that Rufai had made, which is that there was some assumptions that Peter Obi was pulling out. And again, this was just a show that it's still very early in the day and that this group recognizes the strength that they have in numbers, especially when you look at the context that it was Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi's tickets that had split the majority vote in the last election. So this combination coming together, although we don't know what the dynamic would be, but it's important for us to continue to see this united front. And hopefully in light of this, we can see more of a coordinated opposition being able to steer the ship. On the backdrop of this, there's also statements from the Africa Democratic Congress, the ADC, which had initially been put forward by some media reports as the vehicle of choice. However, already before any ink has dried or any deal has been struck, we hear that there's already internal strife within the ADC as well, as they are also competing for positions. Some members of the ADC are saying that no, we will not relinquish our positions in this party for any new members, while some other groups within the same party are saying, well, let more prominent people come. If this is what it's going to take for our party to grow, it's a great opportunity. So we're still a long way away from a real deal. but we're seeing the body language, we are seeing the movement. Now, as to the significance and importance of the North, it can't be overstated. However, we have to remember that the dynamic needs to be balanced out, because we're also seeing an increased shift towards APC in the South and the Southeast. So,
to the high-profile political coalition meeting that took place in Abuja over the weekend, the meeting, which was attended by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party's Peter Obi, and former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi, was disrupted by delegates from Jigawa State. The incident occurred when former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, announced a delegate to represent Jigawa, which was met with immediate resistance from the Jigawa delegates. They stormed the stage, rejecting the nominee and insisting on choosing their own representative. This was a sight to watch. Grown men wearing babariga fighting. Well, the situation escalated there, prompting the Nigerian police to, de-escalate the tension. And at the end of the day, I believe Mustapha Lamido, some of former Jigawa State Governor, Sule Lamido, and other delegates were chosen to represent the state. Let me take this reaction from Ibrahim, who wrote, "What happened today, that was yesterday, at the Continental Hotel in Abuja is just disgraceful. You can't call yourselves leaders and show up to a consultative meeting only to start fighting each other. The folks from Jigawa really need to sort themselves out. Sule Lamido should honestly know better." Another Twitter user wrote, "Shows how fragile alliances built on convenience really are. If Jigawa delegates can disrupt this easily, what hope is there for united leadership in 2027? Politics remains a circus, not a solution." Well, ahead of that meeting, Atiku Abubakar posted a video which has since gone viral on X with a caption. "His Excellency, Peter Obi and I arrived at the Abuja Continental Hotel for the National Political Consultative Group." Let's take a look. The race has begun. So much talk about this coalition meeting that happened yesterday and the race to 2027. But before we discuss, during the meeting, Peter Obi emphasized the pivotal role the northern region of Nigeria can play in transforming the country, stating that the north represents Nigeria's greatest assets, highlighting its significant population and resources. He also criticized the poverty levels in the region, blaming the situation on a lack of investment, and urged the region to take on a leadership role in the nation's development.
The North can change Nigeria. The greatest assets of this country is in the North. This entire country produces less than 6 million tons of rice. That is less than 10% of what Bangladesh produces.
All right. I mean, Peter Obi was there live at that coalition meeting. You know that over the weekend there were reports that Peter Obi may withdraw from the ongoing coalition discussions with other political parties. At the time, I believe it was this week, Obi had touched on the importance of maintaining the Labour Party's identity and principles during a recent meeting with the party's National Executive Committee. However, we had, I believe, Nana Kazure, who is the Director of Communications for the Obedient Movement, on Newsnight, who clarified that Obi is still active with the coalition. I mean, during that meeting, Obi had just made that comment saying that at this time, I am still in the Labour Party. And we saw him right there having talks, discussion, and I actually really liked his statement again about taking advantage of the asset of the North. I mean, there's the population, there's the arable land, which is always talked about. And of course, the whole meeting really just shows that everyone is all talking about the race to 2027. What am I starting with?
Okay, very quickly, let me start with what looked like some disruption at that meeting of the National Political Consultative of Northern members of the coalition, where it's in the nature of political parties for people to disagree. And those disagreements are because even within political parties, you have differences. I think somebody once said on this program that, look, even these coalition members, they are a collection of strange bedfellows, whether at the national level or at the local level. These are delegates from Jigawa State disagreeing over who should speak on their behalf. Former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Abati, had nominated someone else. See how they all trooped towards the podium. They said they didn't want that person until Mustafa Lamido was chosen to speak on behalf of the people. Yes. And then, of course, there was calm. But what I think also is instructive is that, look, the security agents that were there, police, DSS, private gas, they immediately took charge to make sure that calm was restored. So the planners had also factored security into all of this. But this is to say that even within this coalition, all this collection of persons who say we will deal with Tinubu, we will remove APC from power, they also have issues among themselves.
Yes, that's what it shows.
It's not as if it's a united front. And I made a point earlier that there are also divisions within this coalition, whether it's in the north or the south, as to what platform to use, as to whether a new political party should be formed, and other details as to the way to go forward. Mr. Peter Obi, yes, was one of the prominent leaders on that occasion, and he spoke about the North being an asset to the country. And his point is about having to address the challenge of poverty in the North. He's having met a lot of these Amajiri children, who are very brilliant, who could be a greater asset to Nigeria if they were given the opportunity to go to school and to lead. Yes. It's not as if these persons are not talented. They are just as talented as other children. But what you have in the North is the failure of the leadership. Northern leaders have been discussing education in the North since 1959. Yeah. And yet the population of children out of school continues to increase. And he talked about agriculture. And he was saying, look, given the arable land in the North, Nigeria can even do better than, those comparisons with Bangladesh and those other countries. I can't verify those facts. But his point is that, look, the North alone can feed Nigeria, and there are a lot of opportunities there. On that score, you, of course, cannot disagree with him. But in any case, as to whether you will leave the coalition or run on the platform of the Labour Party, well, it's entirely his decision.
Absolutely.
But it is instructive that, look, people are talking. People are talking. At the end of the day, whatever that coalition produces, it's not all the people who started that will be there. It will be on the basis of negotiations.
Yes. And
what, each person gets, what each person does not get. Dr. Sam Amadi was making the point about rentier politics in Nigerian democracy. People are always looking for what will benefit them.
Yes.
If their interests are not served, they will pull out. Finally, the same Mr. Peter Obi has been quoted as saying after 2027 he will not run again.
Yes, he said that.
Because he's quoted as saying, well, there should be age limit for running for
which we've
office.
Always advocated.
After 2027, Murtala Obi will still be a young man.
Yes.
How old is he now? He will be in his
during Newsnight, Nana Kozure said, please, she urged him on behalf of the obedience, please
he will still
continue
be a young
to run.
man. Joe Biden,
yes.
If it was not because of circumstances and public outcry, the man still wanted to be president at over 82.
Yes.
Donald Trump is almost 80.
Is he the oldest?
It's not about age, physical, biological. It's about the age of the ideas of the man who wants to lead.
Right.
We want people who will lead Nigeria. You can be 70, you can be 80. Once you still have the energy, you have the knowledge, and you believe in the common good, not in your pockets and the pockets of your wife and children, but in the common good of all Nigerians. Age should not really be an issue.
All right. Well, Rufai, in another development, former River State Governor and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike over the weekend announced his withdrawal from all agreements made with the People's Democratic Party Wike made the announcement during an event in Port Harcourt, where he expressed his dissatisfaction with the current state of affairs in the PDP, claiming that certain party leaders have acted against the group's interests. He also criticized the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, labeling him as the architect of the problems within the party. I mean, we saw the story yesterday, Rufai, and you know, for me, the first thing I thought about is, hey, look at all these giants leaving their parties, joining the APC, and we're still seeing Wike struggling and making comments about the PDP. I mean, it just goes to show that there's some sort of disconnect somewhere, because I really don't understand how it is that he continues to do these anti-party activities within the PDP and is not even backing out of it. Meanwhile, Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State has reportedly barred Channels television crew from the government house press center in Uyo following the broadcast of a video in which the governor confirmed plans to defect from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, citing internal issues within the PDP. In the video, Umo Eno also asked his political appointees to join him or resign. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
And for me, it's no more news that I'm moving party. And if you don't know that by now, I don't know what else you know. I support this president. I know clearly well that this president did not create the situation we are in. And I don't know how to mince words. And I cannot be in the PDP today and supporting the president of another party. It will be clearly in violation of party guidelines, and I don't know how to flip-flop. It's not in my life. So if I'm supporting the president, let me go to where I'll be able to say so and state the things he has done. I don't want to practice anti-party. I don't have the kind of strength that Barrister Nyesom Wike has, who will confront anybody. Me, I'm a very simple man by nature. So we want our commissioners, our members of ESCOs, appointees. I'm told some of you are meeting that you will not come. You're free, absolutely free. You're free not to join me, but you won't be in my state executive council. So you better just prepare to resign the day I announce that I'm moving.
All right, Governor Umo Eno here. I mean, apparently I heard that he was furious about the broadcast. The Channels reporter, Christopher Moffat, I believe that's his name, of Channels TV, they said he's been reporting from the Akwa Ibom government house for over 10 years. And now the report is that he's being barred because they were not happy about this broadcast that went out yesterday. We see Umo Eno here saying that he doesn't want to be like Wike. He just wants to defect. But why this whole, I mean, just come out with your full chest. Go ahead.
You know why?
Go ahead.
Because he's been playing two games. And this is, let me call him his full name, Pastor Umo Eno.
Yeah, Pastor, right.
Speaks volumes.
Yeah.
At first, Section 22 of the Constitution states that the press, radio, television, and other agents of mass media shall be at all times free to uphold fundamental objectives contained in this chapter and uphold the responsibility and accountability of government to the people. Governor Pastor Umo Eno violated the national constitution by stopping the press from doing its job by saying, go out, because they reported the story. And I told you he's been playing two games. As at September last year, when they were calling him out that your relationship with Mr. Akpabio is too close for comfort, he said, no, it will not affect the workings of the PDP. Not knowing that, he had plans to be able to do this, the defects. So he should do it with his full chest. What he thought was it was going to be Chatham House rule. No. It's good that we are seeing them for what they are. Governor Happy Hour, yes, we appreciate your good work in the States. We know you have done some very good work.
Yeah,
but on
amazing
this,
work, actually.
On this, we totally disagree with you. And please, we will urge you to restore those media journalists, to ensure that they get back to their work and they continue with their reporting. And on top of it, for good measure, offer an apology. I think that's the sense of decency that we expect. Offer an apology to them. Or deny it and say you had no hand in it for barring them. You can't stop the media. This same media that propagates all your good works. You need the media.
This is it.
You must not be able to stop us. But all these politicians, they're all playing games.
Same thing. As
usual. Governor, you have done well. You have done a good job at some point. But on this political score, I totally disagree with you. And it's nothing personal. Just like we celebrated you, when you did well. And I still commiserate to you on the loss of your wife. Real quickly, let me move to Mr. Wike. Mr. Wike he has the temerity to say somebody betrayed him. Mr. Wike, has the nerve unmitigated temerity. He said somebody betrayed him. What did he do to Atiku Abubakar? What did he say after the PDP primaries? Anybody that wins will support them, because he didn't go his way. He set up Jackson 5. You can see now they are fighting. Jackson 5, like Boala calls them. Sheyi Makinde, that was part of the Jackson 5 now. Yeah. I'm sure probably Governor Sheyi said, what the heck? You can't continue this way.
Yes.
He said for peacetime, they should go and withdraw the state of emergency. So you didn't like the PDP governors taking you to court over state of emergency, but you used it. You can see how these people behave in the interest of peace.
Yes.
The Supreme Court made a decision. Go and fix your thing internally. You'll be able to push Iron there. They are saying no. The PDP Southeast faction must not bring in the Okoye.
Yeah.
So you see how they be for body, but you beat them. You beat people. So when they flog you with that same cane, they pay you. It reminds me of Mabel the Fist Sheller, that famous advert for area. He go stay my body. So now you don't want court case. You wanted to remove the PDP court against state of emergency, but you did it to Fubara and you call him your son. So if he wants to say they've betrayed him, he should go ahead. But the truth also is, what has he also done to his party?
All right.
He's doing this to his party. I'm not going to agree. Has it not been a betrayal to his party? He's calling his party out in public. He's going against the presidential candidate, not allowing the presidential candidate even the chance to be able to campaign in the state of his party. It's not a betrayal to his party.
I mean, this is my question.
You see, those that can dish it, they don't know how to take it.
Yes, this is my issue. I mean, all of these anti-party activities going on with Nyesom Wike just really bothers me a lot, because I really don't understand how other people from big parties are moving to the APC, and he's working with the APC. But I wanted your thoughts, Vimbai, Dr. Abati, before I come to you, about Umo Eno, because our constituents. I want to just talk about this barring of journalists. Your take on it before Dr. Abati.
We need to have a zero tolerance policy for gagging the media, especially in this kind of very overt and draconian way. You can't do this. Imagine if we didn't have this tape, we didn't have this video, it would have been so easy for them to say, oh, I never said that.
I never said that.
So this is why the fourth estate is extremely important, because we are there to document and see there's no fake news about this. It is what it is. You said it from your mouth. So maybe that's what frustrated him, is that, they now caught me with my mouth. But it doesn't work that way. This is, you can't infringe on the liberties of the media. Very, very quickly, Oji, Nyesom Wike and PDP. See, I think we also need to review some of the party structures, especially that we have here in Nigeria, because when you have a party that is heavily supported by the war chest of an individual, this is what happens. It's that the individual now has a personal stake. It's like their own birthright, their own company, because they've invested funds into that place.
That's what he's saying.
And that's why he's stuck, because he's like, so the money I used to bail out PDP will just go just like that. So I think we also need to look at our party structures, because parties are supposed to be funded by membership fees from individual members. Correct. But how often does that really happen? Well, then very quickly, I know Dr. Abati said that no age shouldn't matter. For me, for Peter Obi, what I took away from it was the fact that, do you know that currently Atiku Abubakar holds the record of the opposition leader who has contested for the presidential election the highest number of times here in Africa? 6. If he goes again, that'll be number 7. He's only followed by, I'm not even looking at age, I'm looking at the number of attempts. If he goes again, the second in Africa will be Raila Odinga in Kenya. That one has gone 5 times. So that's the record he currently holds. And I guess Peter will be saying, that's not really the record I'm trying. Yes, we're African giants, but let's not hold the record constantly going for presidential attempts.
Dr. Abati. You didn't cite Robert Mugabe.
No, he wasn't. He was incumbent who was re-elected. I'm talking opposition leader.
Anyway,
call him up.
Very old man.
Call him up.
Pastor Umo Eno.
Very quickly.
Yes.
I once managed a press corps of over 150 journalists, and it is not the duty of government, whether at the state level or at the federal level, to dictate to media houses who should be their correspondents in government house, particularly at the state level. And I think that in this particular regard, the management of Channels TV should stand by those 2 journalists that were expelled from the press center in government house of Akwa Ibom State, and insist that those are the journalists that they want in that place.
Yes.
I know that there are press center, those we call press center journalists, those who hang around the press center just to collect handouts and collect communique, as they call them, But this is not the case. Christopher Moffat has been reporting from that place for 10 years. Really? So he deserves the support of the management of his company. Number 2 is that Mr. Pastor Umo Eno, in the statements that he made, well, I like the fact that he was very honest, though. He was very honest in saying, this thing is about my second term. The way they are doing in Abuja now, if I don't go and join them, I will lose my Arise agenda, which I want to be committed to. But that I will also not allow anybody to take PDP from you in terms of the structures. Yeah. So it means that he just wants to join APC so that he can get a second term. In fact, he even said, INEC can come up with technicalities if you are not one of them. So, he wants to be one of them so that he can just win election. The only thing he said that I thought was not okay is this point about people who do not follow me can leave my cabinet. Because that would be anti-party. Yeah. What he himself is doing is anti-party.
No, he's governor, so he cannot be. So he has immunity.
It's not about immunity.
He was thinking this was never going to go out.
It's just that the law does not, sanction governors who defect. But in fact, I think Channel TV should promote those two people and commend them. Because if they did not report this thing, how will we know that even Pastor Umaino is a chameleon? A chameleonic character who has also adopted the same amphibious character as the same wiki that he was referring to.
I mean, come on. Well said, Dr. Abati.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Give Jesus a wiper.
Rufai, really. Well, come on. Well, all right, in another development, let me take a breath. Okay. In another development, social media is awash with reactions after billionaire businessman and CEO of Atlas Oranto Petroleum, Arthur Eze, described President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as God's gift to Nigeria. Well, according to Bayo Ononuga, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Arthur Eze praised Tinubu in an upcoming State House documentary commemorating the president's second anniversary in office. In the documentary, Arthur Eze highlighted Tinubu's dedication to inclusivity and development, particularly in the Southeast, where he has facilitated significant ministerial appointments and the establishment of the Southeast Development Commission. Eze also expressed confidence in Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, emphasizing his wisdom and determination in guiding Nigeria through economic and political challenges. He also urged Nigerians to support the president in fostering stability, growth, and future prosperity. Let's take some reactions really quickly. This is from Dorothy, who wrote, as far as Arthur Eze is concerned, every government in Nigeria from time immemorial is God sent. Taking his statement as worthy of being published by Ononuga shows that the presidency cannot identify objective assessors, but are looking for professional praise singers. Then another Twitter user wrote, he said the same during Obasanjo, Yaradua, JEJ, Buhari, now Tinubu. So it's just his traditional way of securing his business interests. The rich don't do tribalism. It's the poor and unfortunate ones that play tribal card. All these wealthy men in Nigeria don't care about Nigeria. I guess that's what you are laughing too much. But we saw this story, and it is true, because we've seen that Arthur Eze has supported past presidents. But I mean, there was something he said in his, if that's what he said in the video, about, the ministerial appointments from the Southeast. Over the weekend, we were discussing on the table on the morning show and trying to count how many ministers are in the president's cabinet from the Southeast. And apparently there are only two from the federal, which is Devu Mahi, I believe, and of course Uche Narji, who is the Minister of Innovation and Technology.
And you didn't count Bianca?
That is Minister of State. Okay. Then we have Minister of State, Bianca, we have Doris Anete, of course we also have Nkiru Onyejocha. But, it's really just, that was the conversation that we're having, that is the Southeast really represented in the president's cabinet. But also he made mention about the Southeast Development Fund, which, we all applaud President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of doing. I really liked that comment from Arthur Eze. Our wife, please, a quick comment on this so we can take our good news report. I know.
I think one of the great qualities of...
So, guys, like I've just said, that people keep saying, why is Atiku still running? Why should Atiku still be on the ballot? This is somebody who has tried severally and failed. And the most painful aspect is that when Atiku left during the Jonathan's time, he left the PDP for APC. He said it was a turn of the North. How come Atiku does not realize it's the turn of the South? How come is he not realizing that the South is supposed to have the presidency for 8 years before he goes back to the north. I'm just wondering if Atiku just want to keep contesting, whether it's the turn of the north or the south. He just want to see, is it that he has excess money? Because guess what? It's not going to work for Atiku to become president at a time when it was just a northerner that left office. You know, a northerner left office so that power can return to the south for another 8 years. But see, Atiku has still not learned his lessons from what happened in 2023. You know, with all that, if not for what Atiku's personal interest to become president, I tell you, it would have been so easy for Peter Obi to win the presidency. We know that Peter Obi won because Nigerians came out to give him that support. But Peter Obi would have won ×2 if Atiku had not split that vote, because Atiku said it does not matter. So after a Fulani man left office, another Fulani man wants to come in. Now only them power fits for Nigeria. It's wrong. So now that they are having this coalition, people are saying, Atiku, just ask your supporters to support Peter Obi. Forget this, your presidential ambition, because it's not going to work. You've tried severally, you couldn't make it. Why not just allow those who have the followership? Atiku cannot compare his followership with Peter Obi today. And moreover, when you look at the PDP, many of the people that were there before the last election have all gone. So it's like their base has already been divided into 2 or 3 places. So you know what that means. So, but Peter Obi is that one politician who, even after the election, he still has his strong base. I mean, many people that didn't vote for Peter Obi in the last election will not see reasons why they will not vote for Peter Obi this time around, considering the level of hunger, frustration, anger, you know, confusion everywhere. Nothing is working. People are hungry, no source of income, no increment in their school, in their salaries, and so many things that are happening. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.